Okay, there we go. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah, okay, good. I think the other
Yes, we can hear you fine, Stacy.
Okay, good. I know the other day when we were talking, I think it was Jennifer, I think it was with you, like it was like a little bit staticky, or maybe it was Vomsy. Now I can't remember. And so I was like, oh, maybe my computer's going, but I think it was where I was in the house. I think the reception isn't as good. Okay, cool. Well, then I won't worry about it. Okay, well, very good. Welcome to May 2020 Mastermind Call. Let's just jump in. I know people will be joining as we go, so let's get started with if you have any wins from this week or updates on deals, updates on markets, calls, realtors, anything like that. Let's kind of start going through that, and we'll pull learning opportunities out of that and start from there.
Should we ask questions later? Because mine are questions.
You can, if you have a question, you can ask a question. Jennifer, Jennifer and Tara, are you guys able to turn your videos on?
No.
No? Come on. How bad is it? I mean, did you see me yesterday? I went in public looking like I looked yesterday. Come on.
No.
I had my quarterly shower this morning though, so all is well once again. I'm like COVID-19 quarterly shower. That's all that's gonna fit. All right. Well, in the future, ladies, just so that I know you guys are brand new to the mastermind, but in the future, if you are able to have your video on, that'd be great because it allows us to see you and connect, and it's easier than talking to just a name. So, but I love you guys. Okay, so yes, we can. Well, actually, I'm gonna hold off on questions for the immediate. Let me see if there's any wins anyone wants to share, and if not, we'll jump into questions and go back to wins. But
no problem.
Any wins that anyone wants to share to start off, or just updates?
I have an update. I'm finally caught up on my weeks that I started last week. But I did reach out to 3 realtors yesterday, and one I was actually conversing with. Okay. So he was pretty much said that they have a lot of foreclosures in the area that I'm looking at here in North Carolina, but I didn't hear back from him last night. So I just reached out to him just as a follow-up. So just trying to keep the ball rolling because I don't want to get stuck. I'm, in paralysis. I'm used to getting stuck. So, but I think that's a win for me. So,
yeah, that's huge, Katisha. I'm proud of you for doing that. And here's the thing that for you and for everybody, especially when you're new and you don't necessarily, know, or you get stuck in analysis paralysis. Realtors sometimes just get busy. It's not that especially if you had a good conversation, you're like, all of a sudden, what happened? I'm not hearing anything. It doesn't mean that they're not interested. It just means sometimes they get busy and overwhelmed and they just haven't had a chance to get back. So I'm proud of you for reaching back out and keeping the wheels spinning.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm like, well, did I say something wrong? Like, is he not interested? So,
where in North Carolina are you looking?
Oh yeah, good question, Bobsy.
Fayetteville, Wilmington, and Greensboro.
Okay, we are moving to Wilmington end of this month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I have a couple of realtors I know personally there now, at least 3. So ping me after, and I'll send you the names of those people.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're looking for single family?
I'm looking for everything. Okay. Whatever.
Okay.
No, but yeah, single family.
I'll send you
for now.
3 names. I have 2 or 3. So.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
That's awesome, Vomsy. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so Mike, I understand you can't stay long today. Thank you for acknowledging that I look like I've had my quarterly shower. I have. You have updates for us, Mike?
Not too much. We're still underway. The good thing is we're underway. But yeah, paints, I imagine they're pretty much close to being done painting. And then next steps they'll be putting in the cabinetry and the granite. So we're getting there. I think we're going to close underneath our scope of time, or not close, but at least have the work done.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's they're not doing anything else, right?
Right. That makes sense. Did you make a decision about the roof?
Not yet. Still waiting to hear what kind of rules and guidelines we have to follow. I mean, if we start to rip off, and the guideline or the rules, regulations that say if you start to rip off, you got to rip it all off. Then we might just wait, just get the certification, and you know, we could always paint it.
Okay, so so there's two things going on. One is a market question, whether buyers are going to balk at not having a new roof. Did you get that information?
It was middle of the road.
Okay.
I mean,
So no
you know,
definitive answer.
yeah, nobody
And then
had a firm
okay.
opinion on it. Yeah.
Okay, and then on the how to or can we, is it the contractor that's trying to find out who
Yeah.
how do you get, that's who the contractor's trying to find out whether you can tear off a layer and add a layer on?
Yeah, the GC is asking the person that and we've sat down and talked about, they've used this person multiple times, and they've done their own pricing, so they know that he's good, does good work for the price. So I'm confident with that. I could keep shopping, but I'm still not going to know who is who out there.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're in worst case scenario, if you can't get an answer, you're just going to put it on the market with everything else done and just go for a roof cert. And if the buyer wants a roof, then negotiate that at the time.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's a reasonable play. Have you and Shelly decided what you want to do as far as your next move with the funds from your Missouri property?
Yep, I think our next two moves will be and the move after we sell for the IRA will be in holds, just for this time, because I'm not certain what's going to happen through the middle of summer and late summer.
Gotcha. Agreed.
Yeah.
And when are you guys planning on getting started with your, choosing a market and reaching out for cash flow? Because it's a different market analysis, right?
No, completely
different approach.
Yeah, we're in the middle of a refi now, and we're still seeing things change in the banking.
Yeah.
They're changing as we go. So yeah, I've actually started watching the video series. Thank you.
Market research?
And the buy and hold stuff. So
okay. Good.
Because I had only ever done the flip. So
flips.
Probably start looking again potentially next week. Start getting some more CMAs and just follow Steve there for a while. See, I'll just pick up his scraps, throw me a bone.
How many of you guys were were at the property tour last Friday? Were any of you there for it? Cassie, you were there. Kahisha, you were there. So for those of you who don't, and maybe you've seen it or maybe you haven't, but Jennifer had an idea last week or maybe it was a couple weeks ago to see if we could just do like a virtual property tour to see if people would be interested in it. So she had, I think, 2 realtors and then I don't know if they were a wholesaler or if they were a flipper. What was the Gauthiers? Are they wholesalers?
They just have properties. You're looking
They're somehow connecting.
They connect buyers like that are tenant that want to be in, or an investor that wants to. Yeah, they do.
Okay, so kind of all right. So we had somebody who I think they were acting as a wholesaler. I'm not 100% sure what the relationship was, and then we had 2 realtors. One of the realtors ended up disconnecting, so we don't know what happened. But they just came and did presented their properties on the property tour, and it was cool because people were like, "Oh, I would be interested in that. I'd be interested in that." And Jennifer's like, "Well, we'll try it once, and if it goes well, we'll do it again, and maybe we'll try it once a week." So we've decided to do it every Friday for the month of May, and if that continues to go well, we'll just continue doing it. But part of her idea was to create a venue where, for those of you who are wholesaling, that you have, just another place to present your deal, and then for those of you who are not wholesaling but you're looking to buy, to potentially get connected with a market or a person that you wouldn't have known otherwise. So anyway, it's going to be every Friday during May at 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 Eastern, and the times in between. So if you guys want to either participate in that, if you get a property under contract, you're trying to wholesale it, and you want to do that, you can reach out to Jennifer and she'll get you on that. Or if you just want to come and watch and see if there's anything cool. We had everything last week was all cash flow, and not everything was multi-unit, but most everything was multi-unit or portfolio. So yeah. Anyway, so we're just reaching out to different people, and so anyway, if you guys are interested in that, it's in the events. It'll be on Fridays for May. All right. What other updates or wins do we have? Okay, Keisha, I love that you brought that up as a win. Thank you for doing that. That's exactly what I want. Like even it's the thing that you are doing that, takes a little bit, it makes you pushes you a little bit to push you out of the analysis paralysis. I'm super stoked about that.
Thank you.
My pleasure. All right. Don't be shy, you. Steve, did you close on those properties?
Nope. So
I got. Oh, actually, no. It's only the 5th. It's only the 5th. You were gonna maybe close like 5th or 6th.
It's scheduled for Friday.
Okay.
But I got a lot of stuff. I didn't want to hog the whole conversation, so I was just sitting back and seeing what people were saying. So first of all, super huge learning experience for anyone on here. So I had this one duplex. They were asking $75,000, but they wouldn't let you see it unless they had an accepted offer. And the pictures, they rehabbed it recently within the last couple of years. And so I thought, all right, I'll put in an offer for $65,000, and if they accept it, then we'll get to see it. And we got I actually did a 10 or a 15-day whatever
due diligence
period, just because a lot of shit's going on right now. And so they didn't accept that. They said the lowest they'd go is 73, and I was like, well, what do I have to lose? So I said, yeah. So because you can always back out. So we did a video walkthrough with the realtor, and I mean things looked really nice. But what turned me off was I thought it was 2 bedrooms on each side, but one side was only a 1-bedroom. Right. So I said, nah, I'm not interested. And right away the seller was like, well, what would you offer if would you lower the price? And I said, I don't know, I'd go 65. And then they said, well, we'll do 65 if you don't do an inspection. And I was like, no. The fact that you don't want an inspection makes me want an inspection even more.
Right.
And interestingly, the crawl space or basement had a door that was locked, so you couldn't go down there. So it's like, all right, obviously something's up with this property. Well, so I said, no, we want an inspection. And they said, okay, $65,000, and you can do your inspection period and all that. So I lined up the inspection. And it wasn't an hour later, all of a sudden my realtor gets a text that says, oh, the seller just informed me that there's a foundation issue. So I was like,
forgot to mention.
Exactly. So, and obviously, had I not done or said I was doing the inspection, they would have never told me that, which is bullshit. That's totally illegal. Yeah. If you have a foundation issue, have to disclose it, and it was not on the disclosure.
Wow.
So I said, okay, let me see what the issue is, and I'll get back to you. Well, today the foundation guy showed up, and it's brick foundation, not block, obviously not cement. And they still couldn't get in because there was supposed to be a lockbox on there, but there wasn't. It was a key, and the foundation guys looked outside, and he's like, well, it doesn't really matter. It's brick, and we don't repair brick. Plus, look at this wall, it's bowed out. So I totally backed out of the deal today and signed all the paperwork to back out of it. But the learning experience there is, when do we do inspections? Always do the inspection.
Yeah,
so
right.
It doesn't matter how good the deal sounds, you still got to do the inspection. So anyway, that's that one. So then I'm scheduled for closing, right, on Friday, and that's with 6 different properties. So it's a little stressful.
No.
And so even with one property, stuff comes up, right? Well, holy crap. So today was like all these massive emails I'm getting. First of all, oh, we need proof of, your IRA that you took money out of. We need they wanted some paperwork. And I was like, I'm sorry, but I won't have to pay penalties and I don't have to pay taxes because of the CARES Act. And if you'd like me to send you the 600-page document of the CARES Act, I'd be happy to do that. But I don't have a document that says I won't get charged the taxes and fees. I'm sorry. My IRA company just has their normal 60-day thing. And if you want that, I'll give you that. But all this does is extend that. And anyway, So I had to send a letter.
Who was making this request? Was that your lender or the title company?
It's the lender, the people that are doing the whatever they call it. Oh, now I can't think of it. Can't think of the word. Anyway, they're crunching all the numbers to make sure it's a
the underwriters at the lender.
That's the word I was looking for.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's an underwriter. And so the loan guy that I deal with is like, oh my God, I'll say Joanne. I don't remember what her name is, but
she's the worst.
You know, and it's like, great. We got an underwriter who's little nitpicking these little things. So there's like 5 things I had to explain, which are total BS. I mean, everything's in line, everything's perfect until today, 2 days before or 3 days before closing. All of a sudden they come up with all these things. So anyway, that's what I'm up to.
I will tell you and tell everybody that is the absolute most normal thing I've ever heard. It truly is. It's so annoying. It's so frustrating because you're like, none of this is new. We've known this closing is coming for 2 months. Right. What the hell? Why are we waiting until 2 days before? It's normal.
The funny thing is I closed with this company before and had the same IRA situation. I mean, this isn't like it's a new thing. And they didn't ask me for this on the last one. But,
well, you know what's changed though?
COVID. Yeah.
That's right.
That's
right. And not that, yeah.
Interestingly.
Steve, I was wondering, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was wondering if I can reach out to you about you pulling out the money from 401k to make the purchases, the repercussions of it, pros and cons, because I've been trying to read up, but I haven't made up my mind yet. So would you mind having a quick call maybe tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. Not a problem.
And Vamsi, keep in mind too, like after you talk to Steve, we do have a contact. Actually, Steve, did you already talk to Corey at Anderson?
With Anderson? Well, no, because I'm with Anderson anyway now, and so I talked to one of his partners.
You already had them for, okay, gotcha. So Vamsi, we have it's actually in the course or it's on YouTube, but I interviewed Corey Posgay from Anderson Advisors, and his whole thing is on retirement accounts, and he did an interview in the Facebook group specifically about all of this. So from a user standpoint, definitely Steve's actually in it and doing it. But if you talk to him, you're like, okay, I think I'm interested, but you want to talk to like someone who's a professional or whatever, and can maybe talk about strategy with you. He's a very experienced real estate investor also. He's been investing for a very long time, and he's an expert with retirement. So for you and Steve specifically, that'd probably be a good person.
Yeah. And do they do CARES? Because I understand about self-directed IRA and all. We have that going. But
he did the interview about CARES. I don't know that he said that, but he was like, this is what's new right now based on COVID and the timing. So he came on to talk about that. I took that interview. I put it in the course in Kajabi. So it's in there. Okay. I want to say down in funding. So it's pretty far down in the course, but but also I can, after you talk to Steve, if you want to talk to him, I can connect you, because it would just be good to get some advice on that. And he's bought and sold, and he's a landlord and everything else. So he can talk strategically about that with you and help you weigh things, especially with current changes.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure.
So I didn't see I watched Anderson, but I didn't see the CARES thing about that. What's going on with CARES and buying and taxes? I don't understand.
Well, it was different. It wasn't Clint Coons with Anderson. It was Corey Posgay. Did you watch that one?
I already did the funding, so I don't know if it was put in after.
Well, Steve, why don't you talk a little bit, because you're actually doing it right now. You're already having the conversation. Yeah.
I've talked to Anderson, a couple of the different people there, including the lawyers. And actually, I've watched 2 of their CARES videos. They did it was like a 4-hour thing. I'm on my boat watching this thing, which was kind of weird, but.
Poor Steve.
But
put real estate on his boat.
I know. So, because it lasted for hours, but it changed after the first time. There was a whole new CARES thing that happened, and so I watched both the different presentations that Clint and his group did. And yeah, the 401k, you can either take out of a 401k, an IRA, whatever the retirement account. There's even some other accounts that you can take out of it. That gets a little tricky, but you can take up to $100,000 per person. So, I took 90 something out of mine and 55 out of my wife's account for this current deal. And, there's no taxes, no penalty before age, the old 55 or 59 and a half. You don't get that penalty as long as you put it back in before, well, it's 2023 anyway, it's 3 years. And as long as you put the money back in, you don't get taxed, you don't get penalized with that 10% penalty. So other than that, there's a lot of nuances in there also that, ways you can manipulate certain things. You can also they increase the amount you can borrow from a 401k. So you can borrow now, 100,000. Actually, you could borrow against your entire amount, I think now. It used to be 50,000 was the max. And now you can borrow and you're just paying yourself back. So there's a lot of ways to go.
Yeah.
That's just with 401k though, yeah?
Yeah, that's just 401k.
Yeah, because I saw some presentation by some other guy. Only catch was that you have to repay it by 2023 or something. So buy and hold strategy will not work for such, right? Only if you're flipping and within,
or
months.
Or refinancing.
Yeah, that's what I'm planning on.
Like, do a burst strategy. For your strategy, Vamsi, it would not work because it's a long-term buy and hold.
Yeah, it's all about me right now. So yes, I was looking through that, and then I'm like, yeah, this won't work for. So okay, understood.
Yeah, but it's like, I think you're correct. And where it would be beneficial is if someone was going to do the burr strategy. But you're right. You have to know that, like, you don't have forever, but you have a few years, which is a lot more than what existed before, but it's got to be the right strategy. So
2 years, yeah. Thank you.
Plus in my situation, it's kind of nice because this is all about me now. In less than 3 years, I'll be 59 and a half. So I won't see the penalty even if I do keep the money. I'll just have to pay taxes on it. So because I'm old.
Yeah. Well, good thing we are younger, but I get you. Okay.
Oh my gosh, you guys are funny.
Okay, so then one more update. So remember that Florida property, the 2 duplexes that were originally advertised as a quad. I actually found possible financing for that, believe it or not, in this weird market. There was one guy who's like, no, I got these 3 companies, and he's got one. It's like 8%. No, it's might even be a 7% loan. 90% they'll give me for 30-year loan. Yeah. I don't know the details yet. He's sending me the information tomorrow, the actual, paperwork on it. But it's like, wow, maybe things are going to turn around quicker than I thought, because I was having trouble finding any. In fact, I was going to back out. I would have lost my earnest money, and I was going to just say, all right, it's not going to work, because we talked about this before, why it doesn't work. But there may be some hope. When I find out the details, I'll be sure to share it too, because that's good information to know. And it's a commercial loan, so.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's not I can't get a conventional loan, so I don't know. I'll find out the details. It's not hard money though, so.
Yeah. Well, if it's a commercial loan, that means they would loan right to your LLC, right?
Right.
So that means it would be a loan that doesn't show up on your personal credit.
Right.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Keep us updated on that. That's very interesting.
Yeah. I'll be interested in any commercial loans which you're getting, Steve.
Yeah.
Because I'm talking to a lot of lenders, but not getting an answer, or they are saying that they don't take new clients, etc. So if you've come across commercial lenders, I would be happy to talk to them.
Yeah, I'll let you know, because, and again, I was running into the same thing, and they're only offering 60%, and it was crazy what's going on now. And then all of a sudden this guy, I've been talking to this guy for months, but all of a sudden he came up with this new program, and it's like, oh, cool. So we'll see.
Is he a broker?
He is. He deals with multiple. Yeah, he calls himself a wholesaler.
Sure.
A mortgage wholesaler.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes it ends up being the better bet. I remember, at one point, Vomsi and I I can't remember, we must have been texting, or maybe it was a phone call. I can't remember, with this broker, Marianne, and the question was, well, why would we use you? Like, because she was talking about how she charges whatever X number of points. And she was like, well, frankly, I have relationships with a lot of banks. I can get a better deal than you can if you call. And sometimes it's just my contacts. And that is true. So mortgage brokers really do play a role sometimes. Sometimes you can get a better deal going direct to lender if you can find the lender that meets your needs. But sometimes a mortgage broker comes across, because all they do all day is build relationships with actual lenders. So that's really interesting, Steve. And yeah, definitely keep us updated on if that pans out and it seems legit.
Right.
That'd be a great thing to know about.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Right on. And yeah, just know, if you're supposed to close Friday and they just started making all those requests today, tomorrow is only going to be worse. So you're welcome.
Well, I just got about 6 messages here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, my closing disclosures are here for review. So.
Yeah, it's hard to close multiple properties at once, because even one property takes a lot of effort, and you got to look at everything. And it's not like it's a building that has 6 units. It's 6 different properties, and yeah. So you're gonna probably need to have a few beverages this weekend to celebrate and relax.
I'll come over and we'll have sushi and drinks.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, I saw that sushi post. I was straight up jealous.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're living the dream, Steve, and you can probably see from that too why when I say sometimes it's okay to slow down. What you're doing is also okay. You have mentorship and you have help through it, so it's good. But the reason when I was in the beginning, I was like, whoa, don't get too crazy too fast, because it's not like doing 2 properties is only double the work. It adds something, because now you have, especially if you have multiple different lenders and different factors, and then 6 of them, wow. But you're going to learn a lot fast. I just don't want you to miss anything. So just take your time with everything.
I agree. I totally agree. And I am going to step back a little bit here, because I need to kind of build up. I mean, yes, I'm going to have a lot of cash flow coming in, but I need things to build up a little bit before I start spending again. I got it. Yeah, totally.
I'm about to put him on acquisition restriction.
Jennifer sent it to me, Steve. You just got to watch out. If you see any messages from her, just delete them before you read them.
No.
She's going to put you on acquisition restriction.
So I'll just start syndicating though, and then we'll be in.
There you go.
So here's something that I want to say to you, Steve. But obviously, all of you guys know, anytime I'm coaching any of you, all of you should be ear on, because at some point it's going to impact you. Steve, not even if you had another 500,000 liquid that you're like, cool, I could put that into deals. Here's why I would want you to hold off on it, because you're making a pretty sizable acquisition with this, and they're all in different stages, right? Some are below market. So you actually, if you want to maximize your profit on that deal, you will definitely take time off from any acquisition and start focusing on, okay, let me see an organization. Let me see what I have, and start creating the plan, so that one at a time you start doing it, because the whole value of your portfolio is going to increase a lot if you take the time. But better than getting new properties.
Yep, I agree. And I actually talked to the property manager yesterday about this, and I said, okay, and he's got all the lease information and all that. And so I said, okay, once this closes, we're already having the conversation, but I said, a lot of these are under market rent, and my goal is to get them up to market. But I'm not going to do it all at once, like you said. Otherwise we're going to have a bunch of empty places to fill, and that doesn't make any sense at all. So I'm just going to do it kind of one place at a time, and I'm going to pick the lowest first and work our way up. And the nice thing is, each of these are month-to-month rent, so it's not lease problem. If someone decides to leave, it's cool. So
yeah, and just as you're going through that process, just as you're keeping everything, I'd love to have you share your screen and let me advise you as we go in this group environment, so that that you just get my brain on it too, and then everyone else can learn as well. Because it's not always going to be which is the lowest rent that can be raised. It would be a combination of that, how much rehab, what neighborhood it is in, how quickly can you fill it? Because if it's in an area that's kind of it's not that easy to fill, you might just keep money coming in while you focus on the ones that will be very easy to fill once you turn it over. I don't know what area they're in, but there's like, we have rentals where for the most part they're in decent areas, but we have one that it just takes a little bit longer to fill. Like that particular street, even though it's a block away from our other property, that particular street just isn't as desirable. So I really hate when we have turnover there because it takes takes longer to rent it. So there's a lot of strategy involved when you're going to be making moves like that. So let's just, let me put my eyes on it with you as we're going through.
Yeah, absolutely. Plus, if anybody else wants to learn about it, I mean, I'm totally fine with being completely open with all I'm doing. That's fine. So
awesome. And everybody learns, and it's great. And yeah, this is going to be a really fun project to do, Steve. Yeah. And here's the other benefit of doing something like this is because your next move, realistically, not that you're not going to buy more, 1 to 4 units. I imagine you probably will, but I'm not going to be shocked if within your next few purchases, you're just going right into apartments. It's just the path that you're on. And for that, you might need to raise funds for that. If you need to raise funds for that, it's nice to be able to go, here's what I've done so far. It establishes credibility.
Yep, exactly.
So to do it in a really methodical fashion, really organized, to be able to then put that into some kind of presentation form is going to be a huge benefit to you. And so that's why I'm like, I want you to take your time because there's more at stake here than just the cash flow of the properties. There's a bigger picture that this is really part of because of the moves that you've made so far. So it's gonna be fun. Yep. All right, cool. Well, I'm sorry that things are so crazy. Just rest assured, it will always be that way. It's just always, it's either the title company or the lender. And you're gonna wanna stab someone every single time. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why your first deal was so easy. It just tricked you into thinking that real estate was easy, because it's not.
Right.
It's like the first child that you have. And they're so sweet. Oh, I'll have a second one. What happened? This is that same thing. But you're on, child number 19.
Right.
Because that's just how you roll. All right, very cool. Okay, updates and wins. What wins do you guys have for the week? What went on this week? What'd you do? Tell me.
I'd like to share some stuff.
Tell me, Battelle. I'm so glad to see you back. So Battelle apparently this whole time thought that the mastermind calls were over. I'm like, girl, you're in our one-on-one program. You were for a year. I don't know, where did you go? But she's in Jennifer's program too, so she was doing on business calls, and so Jennifer's like, are you mad at Stacy because she hasn't seen you? So welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah, that was I don't know what happened, but I'm back.
Glad you're back.
Okay, so I did sell my place, which is really amazing, right when all of this started. And we were about to take it off the market because the guy didn't want to show it. And we said, okay, this is the last person that's going to see it. That person ended up closing in 20 days. So like right when it just all fell into place. The asking amount, like, wow, just worked out so well. So that's my big win. And it's definitely calmed me down with everything going on because now there's, a lot to fall back on. The thing is that I think that I should wait a little bit. I don't know, but I think for buy and hold until the 3 months are up, like I should wait and see, because I think there's going to be a lot of evictions, a lot of people that will sell their house because they can't pay their mortgage anymore. And so it just makes more sense for them to sell it and pay off the rest. So I'm just trying to wait and see what happens. I don't think it's going to get better in 2 months. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem that way.
Yeah. So I'll share with you what, when people have asked me the question, like, well, should I wait? Here's the deal. First of all, if you're just like, I just feel more comfortable waiting, there's nothing wrong with that. You are an experienced real estate investor, an experienced business owner, Battelle. You have a lot of experience in real estate. So your gut on what works for you, because you also have a lot of other things going on, is just fine. That being said, I want to offer you another perspective just so that you have all the information as far as whether to wait or not. Because in general, when people are like, should I wait? I'm like, there's no reason to wait. Here's what you do need to do differently. However, if you are going to be buying performing cash flow property. You just have to be more thorough in the due diligence. You have to look at who the tenants are, and you need to make sure that they are paying rent. And you want to look at, like Vomsi, for example, Vomsi's working on the 12 townhouses. In her addendum, we specifically requested, which I've never asked for before, ever. We specifically asked for copies of the applications of the tenants so that we could see where they worked. Because we want to see, so if Vomsi is, getting all this, information in us, and we see like 6 of the 12 tenants work at, Chili's and Applebee's and the bar down the street, it's going to be like, you don't think so, because we just know the risk would be too high. So it's a situation where it doesn't mean you need to not buy. And I will tell you, we are in our 2nd month of 100% collected rent. And I think it was on the, it might've been on the wholesale Q&A last week. And I think Marcus was on it, although he stepped out of his car, and someone had said, I heard that 40% of people are not paying rent right now. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna call bullshit on that. Because what do you mean? Based on what? Because nobody has asked me. Nobody has asked anybody that I know who owns a ton of property what their vacancy is or what their rent collections are. So where are they coming up with that?
Maybe it depends where you live.
Well, and the thing is, it was
in
a
Indianapolis or in Kansas or.
It was a blanket statement about in the United States, 40% of rents are being collected. I was like, okay, I don't know whether it's true or not, but the blanket statement like that, I was like, they don't have the data to make that statement. They just don't. So I have been going on and looking at other landlord groups, and I just know for our whole portfolio, we are 100% collected in April, which is my biggest concern, and now in May. We had 2 vacant units that got filled. So like, everything is still moving. I've been in landlord groups just because I'm just curious. Are we just super lucky? Nope. I am not that everybody has every single tenant paying. I've had a few people, especially if they have commercial, they're screwed. But like people who have residential, I am not seeing anybody who's like, oh my gosh, like half my tenants aren't paying, or I have a ton of tenants not paying. It's been the opposite. So I'm like, where is this news coming from that's painting this picture that half of America is not paying their rent? So anyway, my main point, Battelle, even if that was true, which I don't believe it is, but even if that was true, the way that you mitigate that risk for you making a purchase is by doing extra due diligence to see, have the tenants been paying? Because at this point, if you made an offer today, you're talking about closing 30 days from now. Now we are 3 months in at that point. If they're gonna not be paying because they're out of a job from COVID, that would have probably already happened. But if you then take one step further to see, where do they work? And do I feel like where they work is going to be a risk for not paying in the future? Okay, then maybe I'm going to slow down. I'm going to back out. But other than that, there's not a reason to not. If the argument is, well, I think there's going to be better deals later, that might be true. But in the meantime, while you're waiting for the better deal, this was advice I had given to Tim. You have other things going on. That's why it's not the same advice for every person. I want you to see the whole picture of it. Will it be better deals later? There might be, but those might not come on the market for a really long time, especially if they're foreclosure. It takes a long time. In some states, mortgage states, those properties aren't going to be in the market for a year. What opportunities did you lose out on? What cash flow did you lose out on while you're waiting for the perfect deal that everyone will be competing for in a year? Because they've been waiting. So I just think if you find a property that meets your needs and you feel good about it and you can do the due diligence, you're not really having a big risk. The other thing is, if you're going to do a strategy where you're going to do renovation, and I don't know whether you're ever going to renovate again after dealing with Adrian, but but if you did, if you were doing the BRRRR strategy, same thing. You get to screen those tenants. You get to screen those tenants, and you could just make the statement like, hey, if you don't qualify for lease guarantee, like if you go through the AAOA program, you don't qualify for lease guarantee, I don't rent to you, then anybody coming in, you have zero rent risk, because it's basically their rent is guaranteed by the insurance company that that you have involved. So there's just ways to mitigate risk right now. It doesn't mean you have to buy, but if someone says, oh, should I wait? There really isn't a reason, because you can work through all of those things to mitigate the risk that exists, in my opinion.
Okay.
So
yes, I do want to renovate again. Adrian's not going to stop me.
Yes, girl. I don't even know why I said that because nothing will stop you. That's a good point. Very good point.
But speaking of Adrian, the contractor, he's just taking so long. It was supposed to be it was supposed to be March 15th, and it keeps going forward and forward, and then it was supposed to be this week, and now he told the broker it's going to be at the end of the month. And last time he did a draw request, or he gave me an invoice. He was supposed to finish the drywall, and the inspector came and he said it's not finished, but it's mostly finished. And then he said, so this is a trick he did, which is something I'm learning from. He said, no, in 3 days it'll be finished. It's not completely finished. I want him to see it now. In 3 days it'll be finished. Well, am I going to send him out there again in 3 days? No. So he sends me the invoice 3 days later. But another realtor friend that I know went yesterday. He shows and it's still not finished. Now, I already paid him for it, you know.
But should you have?
No. I made a mistake.
Okay. And so it is what it is. And you're like, okay, fine. All right, got it. I got you now. I see how you work.
Yeah. You know,
these are just lessons for future. You just wait until it's done. Yeah.
That's all I can do. So when I first remember when we were talking and I first talked to him and I said, I don't have a good feeling about him.
Adrian?
Said, yeah. And you said, why not? And I said, I don't know. Just my gut feeling is not good. I don't like him. And then I ended up going for him. And now I'm beating myself up because I should have stuck to a gut feeling is everything, you know? Yeah. And I should have just stuck to my gut and went with someone else because he's been nothing but a headache.
Yeah, he's a piece of work, that guy. So here's something that I want you to just for the future. So if in the future, if you're dealing with a contractor, let's say Adrian in this case, and he says the drywall's done and you pay for an inspector to come out there and it's not, it is just be real clear cut with him. It doesn't matter for this time because it's done. Be real clear cut. If I send them out and it's not done when you said it's done, you are paying for that inspection or you're paying for the re-inspection. I will deduct that because you should have actually sent the inspector back out to check it, but I can understand why you wouldn't because it seems like a waste of money. And he said it would be done, but it wasn't. And would it be better to pay the $100 to the inspector or the however much money to the thing? So it's just stuff that you kind of see, oh, okay, got it. I see how you got me. All right. And it helps you to be more committed in the future or just to know how to assess whether to release that draw or not. It would be worth it, especially if you're already having issues with him, to pay for the inspector to go out again. But I would have charged him for that. But I know so Battelle is dealing with a difficult decision to make. And she and I have talked about it like in between calls. But the issue is that, she has a contract with this contractor and this is a flip. So it was a big renovation, over $100,000. And the contractor had given an initial timeline. And in her contract, in her construction agreement, it says the project will be completed by X date. And you have whatever, it's like a 1 week grace period or something like that, like some grace period. So if it goes beyond that week, okay, fine, there's no charge. But beyond that, there's a per day charge of whatever it is, $100 a day, 150, whatever's in the contract. So what Battelle has been struggling with that we've been talking about is at this point, he is way past. And she's like, well, what should I do? I'm like, well, technically you can deduct whatever he's passed from the final payment. Technically, okay, there's a lot of things that are technically true that in practice, you might make a different decision. So I'm going to share this with you guys because these are some of the difficult parts of what we do for a living and decisions you have to make. And sometimes it goes one way, sometimes it goes another way. So what Battelle is faced with is, look, I should be able to deduct X amount of dollars from the final payment. But if I do, is he going to put a lien on the property? I'm like, he probably is. He probably is because he's going to be like, I did it. And I said, well, you should be getting I'm surprised your hard money lender's not having you get a lien release each time. So that is something in the future that you'll want to do. Normally you have to for your lender, but whatever.
Do you get that before or after you give the money?
Usually you get it before. You're like, sign this off and then I'll wire it to you. It depends on how savvy the contractor is. If the contractor is actually pretty savvy, they might be like, I'm not going to sign a lien release when I haven't been paid yet. So sometimes it's always like, okay, here we go. And it's just, you have a relationship and then it's fine. But so the question that Patel is asking is like, well, is he going to put a lien on the property? And I said, he probably will. And here's the thing, you could fight it because you have a contract that says he will be done. I guarantee that this guy is going to pull COVID as a reason. He is. And you know what? He'll win. And that sucks. And it's the reality. So anyway, just so that you guys know that COVID's not a normal thing we're dealing with, but dealing with a contractor who does overruns or does takes longer than they're supposed to, that is a normal thing. And then you have to decide whether if it wasn't their fault or if there's outside circumstances, you could just choose to waive it, especially if you want to have an ongoing relationship with them. But if it is their fault, you can absolutely hold them to it. You might have to fight them on the lien and provide a lien release, because they might file a lien with the county saying, I didn't get paid for work that I did. But you would provide the lien release to the county to say, BS, yes, you did, and here it is, and they would take it off. But I just think right now with COVID, he's going to get away with all sorts of things that he wouldn't normally. Because he's going to say, the offices weren't open, I couldn't get the permits in time. He's probably going to blame you for the payment stuff.
He blames me for everything. He takes no responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is like I'm wrapping my head around May 30th, but then he could just say June 15th and May 30th. And then he could say June 30th. And like, he fired most of it. Like he's just, and I have a partner, you know, that is also working out there. And sorry.
And investors with children, we know how that goes.
It's like they know you're on the phone and they start making the most noise.
Yeah, they do. It's true.
Well, that's not just my kids.
And oh my God, I don't even remember. I don't know.
Yeah, but tell him, when did you talk to him last?
Friday.
Okay.
Friday.
And when are you scheduled to talk to him again?
Friday. Every Friday we talk. So he only has one payment left, the final payment. So he has nothing to look forward to like get another payment. You know, there's one payment left, so he could drag this out as long as he wants. I have another friend who's getting places there in the same area with him as a contractor, and he's not performing on his places either. So if he has 10 men working for him altogether, he's putting one in each place right now. So he gets a little bit done in each place every day rather than finishing a place.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he told you May 15th, but he told the broker end of May?
Told me May 7th.
May 7th. Okay. I wouldn't wait till Friday to get him on the phone.
So I told Adam, because I'm kind of done dealing with him, and I told Adam, talk to him.
Uh-huh.
My husband, he's just better with that kind of stuff anyways, with talking to people. And he's like, I don't know what to say to him. There's nothing to say to him at this point. So like, we don't know what to say to him. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, right now he's supposed to be done in 2 days, and that was the last time you heard, right? That's the last thing he said, May 7th, it will be done?
No, I texted him afterwards. And he was rude as always. He was like, if you want to put it up on the market without countertops, then go for it. If you want, you know, like, just, you know, like, no, I don't want to put it on the market without countertops. I want it to be done. Like, come on. And he was like, oh, I'm trying to save you money because whatever.
Sure.
And I was like, well,
so sweet.
Please finish it as soon as possible. I didn't want to get into a fight with him. I said, please just finish it as soon as possible. And he was like, I'll do my best or something. And that's the last time we talked.
So what is the final outcome with this guy? What is the final outcome with this guy? Aren't you guys in your final walkthrough yet?
We were supposed to
be. Shitty contractors is my specialty. I love to mess with them. Aren't you guys in like some sort of a final walkthrough yet?
We're supposed to be, but now he pushed it back another 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
But he didn't tell you that. He told the realtor that.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you had the realtor in the property to give you a punch list of what is to be done?
No.
I would ask for that. And you want to like compare and contrast the story and find out what's up. have the realtor Marco Polo you the whole property walkthrough, and then compare that to a punch list, and have her invite that son of a bitch to the call, to the Marco Polo video with her. Sorry guys, I don't mean to like offend anyone.
Son of a beat.
I'm just done with this guy. Have her like create a Marco Polo string with him, with you, walking through, okay, here's the punch list. This is what's real. Okay, then you incorporate Jad in that as well. And it's just mutual accountability. He doesn't stand a chance. And at that point, if he is not going to execute, you find out exactly what you need, and then you hire a fucking handyman to go finish it and get him out. And then every review you can imagine to fuck him up.
I paid him, so there's only a little bit of money left.
Okay. Okay.
And a lot of these things were supposed to be for the supplies of the cabinets, the toilet,
that aren't in.
all these.
Okay.
So now it's just him putting it in,
Okay.
and then there's a final payment of just labor. I don't know that he got this stuff. I don't know that it's in. I don't know that he's not going to cancel the order. Now, I could also cancel my credit card bills to him, but then we get into a really bad situation.
That's ugly energy. We don't need to get that far. Let's at least identify the gap. What's he saying and what's real? That's like step number one. Like as soon as you get off this call, try to figure out how to identify the gap. I'm sorry I hijacked your call. I hate contractors that are shady like that. Like, call me.
Okay.
I've had my fair share, and we will box.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Steve's cracking up.
I ain't having it. No.
Mine's my bad cop.
My money's on Jen.
What's up?
I'll go to the mat. We'll go to the mat. We'll go to the mat. Let's go. I'm sorry.
No, hey, if you have anything to add, you just roll on over.
I'm over that guy.
I know.
So wait, let me just ask. So I talk to the realtor. I tell him to go with the punch list, Marco Polo, the contractor is on that Marco Polo. Then what? Then I call him and I say, hey, you were not where you're supposed to be and what I paid you for. I don't know what to say to him at this point.
Patel, breathe, mama. Then you call me because you're in our diamond plat. Like, call me. Okay. And then I will walk you through what to say to him. Okay? Call me.
Okay.
Serious.
Okay, I will. I'll look into it.
And now does everyone understand why I said, the first thing I said to Patel is, if you're still willing to do rehab after dealing with this guy, because he's
every 10 houses, you'll want to know an idiot like this, and then you learn and you know.
Yeah. All sorts of learning opportunities.
I'm sorry. I get all mad. I'm not mad at you, Patel.
She knows. All right. So there's one thing that I just wanted to quickly bring up that was related to Patel's house selling. And I'm not going to talk details, but it was such a unique situation. And I feel like it's a good learning opportunity. So I just wanted to throw it out there in case you ever have a situation like that where you have to make a decision like that. So I don't know, it was maybe a month or so ago, Patel, you and I were talking about, you had got the offer on the property, and I was like, wait, I thought you were taking it off the market, and it was cash offer, and they were closing so fast. And Patel had the decision to make on whether she was going to do a 1031 exchange and basically make it tax-free, or if she was going to sell it. The thing that was unique about the situation is she had lived, it was her primary residence for a couple of years. So, based on some kind of proration, I don't exactly know how the rules work, but based on some kind of proration, she wasn't going to have to pay full capital gains the way that she would as if it had been a rental property the whole time. So she'd gone to her CPA and said, okay, here, because first she was like, I'm not sure if I should do this or this. I'm like, you've got to find out the tax implications so that you know what you're making a decision on. Like, how much tax are you going to pay if you don't go through the exchange versus et cetera. And so based on her tax advisor, it was like the 1031 exchange was going to cost like $1,300 about, right? For the cost of doing the 1031 exchange, and then she would pay no taxes. But then that money would have to be she would have to invest it within X amount of time within the rules of the 1031 exchange. Or she could sell the property and she would have X amount of tax liability. Not as much as she would have if it had been a rental the whole time, so it was reduced, but there was still a chunk of money. And so Patel had to look at that and go, okay, well, what's more important to me? But if she did that, she would have all the money. She'd have all the cash. And she wouldn't have to roll it into a property. She could, or she could wait, or she could move some of it into a property and put some of it into other business or put some in savings. Like she would have full autonomy on that. But it had a price tag of, I don't remember the amount, like $8,700 or so, something like that, right? So it was under $10,000 when you take into account the net of the 1031 exchange cost. And so that was a decision that she had to make was, is it worth it for me to pay an extra net of $8,700 to pay out that I won't be able to bring in, but in order to have the money in cash with 100% flexibility in what I do with it. So that was just, as she went through that, she had to make that decision. And based on everything that was going on, her other business, you know, her, like, I'm not sure if I want to invest yet or wait. That was a decision that she made based on what made sense for her. It was just a really unique situation. Patel, and I just wanted everyone to know that it's not always, you're not always going to do a 1031 exchange just because you're selling something and you're trying to avoid taxes. It depends on how much you're trying to avoid. And if it's not that much, or if the amount that you have to pay is worth it for you to get the money in cash and have the options, that's also a viable strategy. It's just, it's a little bit more advanced because it's, you know, something that you don't have the opportunity to do until you actually already own rental property and you're selling it. But just something I wanted to bring up because it was like, oh, that was a new one. That was interesting.
I'm happy that I didn't do the 1031 exchange.
I am too. I thought that was the right decision because it gives you a lot of flexibility, and it wasn't that much money. $8,700. I mean,
it might be $8,700. That is the worst case.
Oh, okay.
So it could be less. So
yeah.
It's like, all right, I just with everything going on right now, and you know,
yeah,
I'd rather have it and see what I want to do and when I want to do it and how much I want to put in and all that stuff.
I think that was a good move on your part, and it gives you all the flexibility you need. And now you're like, okay, I can breathe. Where if you had 1031 exchange it, you'd still be like, okay, I still have this Airbnb business and I don't have that capital. Now you have options. It's a price you pay for options, and sometimes we make the same decisions. So anyway, that was kind of an interesting one I wanted to bring up to you guys. Okay. All right, now that you guys are all excited about rehabbing.
It's not usually that
all right,
bad.
It's not usually that bad, except when it is. Then it is that bad.
I'm really happy that you're telling me that it's not usually that bad and that I'm just in a really bad situation, because if it was like this every time, I'd be like, I need to hire someone to handle just this person because I can't do it. So I'm glad to know that this is like a bad situation.
It is. And it does happen. So it's not like it's unheard of. It's not like you're like the only one. But what you're going to come out of this, Patel, truly is that the rest of your projects are going to seem like not a big deal. Because at worst case scenario, you'll end up with someone like you've already dealt with. But in kind of a regular, more average scenario, they'll be infinitely easier. And sometimes they'll be amazing. And because you have this contrast, it'll seem like, okay, I can really handle anything. If I can handle this and make it through this guy, I really can handle anything. And you'll have a better sense for things too, now that you've seen kind of the stuff he pulls and the way that the money flows, the timing, the hard money lender. There's a lot that you learn in that situation when you're in it that will help you in the future. So yeah, it isn't always that bad. We had a contractor like that a year ago, and I just wanted to shoot myself in the face about it. I was like, I hate this guy. But I've had contractors that were just like amazing, that were still friends because of how good the experience was. And then there's everyone who's just kind of somewhere in between. So anyway, we just got to get through it. Hopefully soon, but I know the feeling. All right, who else wants to share either a win or a status update on where you're at?
Hi, Stacy.
Hi, Tope. How are you?
I'm fine. Glad to be here today.
Wait, before you go any further, I want to actually introduce you. So we have 3 new members of our mastermind with us today: Tope, Tara, and Jennifer. And they're actually I don't even know if Jennifer's on the call. I don't see her. Oh yeah, there she is. Her picture's right here. Okay, there you are. But they actually work all 3 together in their business, and they joined the mastermind as a team to come in. So anyway, so Tope, Tara, and Jennifer. And they're all from all over the place. So Tope is it Houston?
Yes.
And then Jennifer's from Canada, and Tara's in South Carolina, and they've never met in person, yet they're doing business together as a team. I just think that's really, I was like, wait, what? 2020, we can do that here. Anyway, we are glad you're here and welcome, Tope. So give me your update.
Okay, so we started on our assignment, the markets research. We all picked different states. Well, we're working on 4 different markets, but we decided that we're going to have the 3. We're going to set the 3 aside, and I will work on 1 together for the first time so that we close a deal. Just, we've been on this for a while. We want to close this one deal and feel good about it. Then we can that. So
sure.
I'm working on Phoenix, Arizona, and I started doing my market research. I called few realtors from there, and man, it was as if I'm doing an interview for a job. They asked me a series of questions, and they started sending me, 2 of them is now sending me list of properties.
Okay.
But my question now is, we have the properties, how do we get the buyer? We've just started the program. We're just trying to build up our market research. Now we have a couple of properties. How do we get the buyer? And one of the realtors also said that Phoenix is very highly competitive, that we have to put in our offer like the next couple of hours. We can't wait for 2 days. So I'm like, okay, we'll do. But, I know we're just getting started. So my question is, what's the next step? We have the properties. How do we get the buyers? And how do we pick one? Because it's quite a few.
Okay, so a couple things. One, in the course, based on the Q&A that we had last week, I actually changed the order. For everybody that isn't taking the wholesale course, also, you might not know what we're talking about. In the wholesale course, it talks about building a buyer's list. For Tope, Tara, and Jennifer, they are wanting to wholesale first. So this answer is related to that, in case you're like, what are you guys talking about? So Tope, the first thing is in the course, if you're going through, if you go in right now, building a buyer's list is before lead generation now. I just made that change, although I think that was the day you guys came on, so I don't think you even would have got that far yet. So the question of how to build a buyer's list, I could sit here and answer it for you for the next 5 hours, but it would be better for you just to go into the course where I already have all the information and just prioritize the heck out of that, okay? And go through that, because I have an extremely systemized approach to how to build a buyer's list, okay? So that's all done for you. Just need to go in there and watch those videos. But to answer your question about the list of properties, when the agents are sending those to you, they're just sending properties with no comps?
Well, yes, they said that once I pick one, I should let him know, then it will give me the comps. It will prepare the comps.
Okay, so a couple of things. If you have to know what your strategy is, and I don't mean just wholesale. You have to know what your strategy is for the person that you're trying to wholesale to. Are they looking to hold it for rent? Are they looking to flip it? What is your absolute final exit strategy for the property?
For now, we're gonna look for somebody that will buy and hold it for rent.
Okay, so Phoenix, are you in areas of Phoenix where the prices and the rents are at a point where it's going to cash flow well enough for you to be able to wholesale to someone looking for a rental property? I don't know the market, that's why I'm asking. Phoenix doesn't strike me as a really inexpensive market, which is why I'm asking. Vamsi lives, in Arizona.
He said that I didn't present it to him as if we're gonna assign the property to somebody else.
No, I know you didn't.
I just told him that we're gonna buy and hold, we're gonna rent it, and he said that we'll get premium price for our rent now. That at this stage in Phoenix, that the price of the rent amount is almost the same as the mortgage.
Okay, so the question you need to know is, so for example, if a house is going to cost $200,000 to buy, you would need to pull in at least $2,000 a month in rent for that to meet the 1% rule, for it to even have a chance of being like a decent cash flow. Phoenix doesn't strike me as an area that's super great for cash flow. So as far as the way that I teach wholesaling and the system for that, I think you're going to be better served in areas where the prices are, either if you're focusing on duplexes where there's more rent because it's more units, but that there's more cash flow coming in compared to the price of the property. So for example, let's say you're buying a duplex for $120,000, but it's got $1,500 of rent coming in. Like it's more than 1%. The rent is more than 1% of the purchase price. Those areas tend, I don't want to say always do, because there's a certain few markets that the property taxes are so high, it throws off the numbers, but those markets tend to work a lot better and easier than markets that are a little bit higher priced. Phoenix has been hot, hot, hot for years, which, and I just know that because of the training that I used to do. I would go all over the country and work with people. A lot of people picked Phoenix for flipping because it was so hot, hot, hot. Well, because it's been so hot, and I don't mean temperature wise, just like the market's been moving, seller's market, prices are high. Unless rents are really high too, I think it's going to be a more challenging area to wholesale if you're going to wholesale to someone who's looking to hold it for cash flow. So anyway, that's just some thoughts on that. You just need to continue in the course, because I think more of this will make sense by next week when you've gone through more of it. That being said, here's what you need to do with the realtor. This is for all of you guys. When you get properties in from a realtor, first of all, that's a great first step. So congratulations, because at least you made it enough through a conversation that you got them to take some kind of action. That's a big deal in the beginning, because it feels like it's nerve-wracking. Well, you're not nervous at all. You're pretty outgoing, but that's still, to be able to get that action, that's great. The next step that we need them to do is we need to not have them send us a list of properties. We need them to send us a property with the comps. So in a situation like this where the relationship is new and they just send you a list of properties, what you guys do is you just say, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that you took the time to send me these list of properties. Do me a favor, pick your favorite 2 or 3 and send them back with comps. I'll be happy to get an offer out to you tomorrow. Okay. And just don't look at them. Be unwilling to spend time clicking through a bunch of list of houses. The houses, like visually in any way, don't mean anything without the numbers. Like, we are investors. It's not about the visual. It's not about the visual. It is about the numbers. So that has to be the first thing. So if you just turn it back to them like, oh, thank you. Send it to me with the comps. I'll get an offer out to you tomorrow. Now, in the beginning, it might take you a little bit longer than to say tomorrow, but when you basically push it back and say, pick 2 or 3, send with comps, I'll have an offer back to you tomorrow. They're like, okay, so you're serious. Okay, fine. I'll go through and let me see if I can pick a couple. But if you are willing to look through the properties, they'll keep doing that to you every single time. And while you're looking through properties, Steve is buying one of those properties. Like, you got to be quick. And you don't know Steve yet, but you'll know, because we make a lot of jokes, because he buys a lot of properties and he makes fast decisions. So Okay. And that's why he's gonna have 19 units pretty soon.
Okay. Thing. So speaking of wholesaling, I got an email from a wholesaler, and it was awesome. It just happened yesterday or the day before. And they specifically said, hey, my name's so-and-so, I own this blah, 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 LLC, and I'm wholesaling properties, and I'm looking for buyers, and gave me a questionnaire that specifically said, what are you looking for? Duplexes, triplexes, quads, all of the above, single family, whatever. What's your price range? So then they know if they find a duplex for $75,000, it's like, oh, Steve's going to jump all over this thing, and they show it to me. So having your buyers list, like Stacy said, is super essential, and you can send those emails out to anybody. I mean, it's not like you have to be, and they might not respond. But they might, and then they fill out the, not 20 questions, like 3 or 4 questions that are simple and give you an idea what that person wants. I thought it was a great email. It was very simple. It was very straightforward. And I was more than willing to fill that out because, hey, if they can find me a deal, they can find me. They ask the area I'm looking for and, everything like that. So, yeah.
Could you share a copy of the email of the questions they asked you actually?
Yeah, I can do that.
Steve, I'm just curious. Do you know, like, you can just tell me the first name if you remember. Do you remember the name of the person?
Let me look. It'll take a second because I have a lot of email.
No problem. But that's, Tope, that's exactly. And you're going to learn as you just keep going through the course. Okay. It's going to take you through that process.
Plus, you start building these relationships and they just start flying. And honestly, this thing's full of emails from people sending me deals all the time.
Wow.
And and it takes something for me to look a little deeper at it. There's some I'm getting that are just from realtors and they send me that mass one like you're getting right now. And it's like, I'm not even going to look at them today. And then there's others that's like, oh, this guy knows what I'm looking for. He knows what I'm after, and I'll open them every time. And then I'll look in detail at each and every one of them because he knows what I'm looking for. And so he sends me the good stuff. So
it's a relationship business, and that is basically what this guy has done. Is he's taken the time to care about what his buyer is looking for so that he can present him with the best options for him.
Right. So, Stacy, if they ask you that one of them asked me how many years I've been investing and how many properties I've rehabbed, what's the best question? I just told them, you know, I think the Q&A that you did, you said we can use your experience. So I heard it somewhere that, so I don't know how many years, but I just told them, I said 10 years. And he said, how many properties? I said, in the last year, I think I said about 10 in the last year. But I was like, oh my God, I hope he doesn't ask any delicate question again. So in that kind of scenario, what should be my best response?
Okay, so I'm gonna actually you just hold on a second. I gotta write something down because you just gave me an idea. What a memento. I feel like I gotta bring on a guest named Robin Scoville to tell you guys the funniest story. He's somebody I trained in 2007, and he has the funniest story about before he had actually made his first purchase, but he was in training, about what he said when someone did that. Anyway, I happen to be talking to him tonight at 7 o'clock, so I'm going to ask him if he'll come on to one of our things and share that with you guys, because it's a good way. But here's something I want you to think about. I'll give you a few different ways you can answer it. First of all, the way you answered it, that's just fine. But let me ask you something. For all of you, you can just think about this in your head. If you are a homeowner, if you own your own home, or if you've ever owned your own home, what year was it that you bought your primary residence? The first time you ever bought a piece of real estate. So whatever year that is, you can be like, so here's the thing. Someone says, so, I mean, how long have you been doing this? How many properties? You can be like, geez, how long have I been doing this? It's been a while. I mean, we started back in, whatever. Started back in 2000 and for me 1999. I started in 1999, so I've been doing real estate since 1999. Now in 1999, I was graduating from college and buying my first property, like a little starter house to live in. I wasn't doing real estate, but they asked, and I just said, gosh, I mean, I've purchased my first property. I guess it's been since 1999.
You're right. I've actually rehabbed a house before, but that was my first house. So I didn't think about that when he was asking me. I didn't think about that at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you answer in a way it's vague, but it's also true. So that's one option. Just think back. Now, if you don't have that, if you've never bought a personal residence, then you won't be able to say that. But if you have, whatever year that was, you just say, gosh, it's been a long time. We started back in blah year. And it's 100% true and it's congruent. If you don't have that, then you could just go, here, I'll give you another thing that you could say that is true. The words are true. You can say, well, gosh, between my partner and I mean, we've been buying real estate, or we can say we've been doing real estate investments since 2003. That's when I started. Or you could go back to 1999. You could buy my first house with me. You could say between my business partner and myself, I'll be the business partner. Mike and Shelly throw me under the bus all the time as the evil business partner who always makes them get, do their draws, right, and get the inspections. My business partner is such a pain. She always makes us blah, blah, blah. So you can always use me and Jennifer as your business partners, and you can leverage our experience and to say, I mean, gosh, between us and our business partners, yeah, it's been, 20 years.
Thank you so much.
And that is technically true because between you and us, it has been.
Right.
Yeah, and you could say as far as properties, if someone's asking you, it's just because they're trying to assess whether you're the real deal or not, for one. So you can do that. And as far as properties, just say, I mean, not over 20 years, it's been hundreds. I don't know. We've done it all over the country. We've done lots of strategies. Some years we're buying lots. Other years we're just chilling and managing our portfolio. And you just it's called flash rolling. You just answer them quickly. Like, oh, boom, 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 boom. And then you just turn it back on them. So how long have you been in real estate? Tell me about you. What about you? And so quickly answer them, flash roll them, and then start asking them about, have you worked with investors before? Like, do you understand what it's like to work with an investor? You know what I mean? And get them trying to prove themselves to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so those realtor calls are hard when you're new. It's one of the hardest parts.
Yeah, it was as if I'm doing an interview. I'm like, man. So how do we get proof of fund? Because he also asked, how are you going to pay? I said cash. He said, oh, good. As long as you're able to show proof of fund. I'm like, okay, we'll deal with that when we get to class today.
Exactly. Well, it's interesting because up until recently, I had a contact with IMC Money who they used to just offer proof of funds, and their proof of funds letter was written in such a way that it didn't look like it was a loan. And that was on purpose. It would look like, it didn't exactly look like cash, but it said this is not a bank loan, that we are asset-based investors or something like that. So it worked. They just stopped offering that, and now I guess they're offering it for a fee. I think Steve sent us over like a screenshot. Was that you, Steve, who sent the screenshot that IMC Money is now doing proof of funds but with a fee? It wasn't you. Okay, I can't remember who sent that, but anyway, but I went on and I found another company called Best Transaction Funding. And I think the website was besttransactionfunding.com, and they have a proof of funds. It does look like it's a loan because it says like it's subject to something that looked loan-esque. So the cash thing may or may not hold, but what you can say is, well, what difference like you could just play dumb. If you give them that proof of funds and they go, wait a second, this says that it's going to be subject to, you know, some kind of lending requirements. And you can be like, well, yeah, but it's still cash at the closing. If you could just play dumb with it. But to be able to make a cash offer, and when you get to the part in the program that talks about, or in the course that shows you how to actually calculate the offer, you'll see in the offer it has language that says, this is a cash offer and buyer reserves the right to use non-contingent private funds, which is when you put that in the contract, that allows you to bring in a lender. As long as your deal isn't contingent upon getting financing, you make it contingent upon the inspection.
Okay.
That's what allows you to do it. So, but if you, now that we don't have the proof of funds as readily as we had it before that looked cash, you might have to do a little bit of like play dumb a little bit, like, yeah, well, it's still cash at the closing. Like, what do you mean? Who's walking up with a suitcase of cash? Nobody. It's a wire transfer. Oh, okay. I thought that was cash. You could just, that's what you can say if they care.
Or should I just say, okay, we're going to get funding, we're going to get financing? They don't want to hear that.
That would be the other option. It's better, it's more competitive if you can make a cash offer. But if you're like, I just want to say financing, there's nothing wrong with doing that. It's just a little bit more competitive with cash. Right now, in this current environment, what we're going through, it's probably 100% okay to say financing. But for years, it's been so competitive in so many markets that you had to use every competitive edge to ever get a deal.
Right.
Part of which was you've got to make a cash offer because it's just very hard to get accepted otherwise. Because everyone's making cash offers, even though they're not doing really cash either. They're doing hard money, but they're saying cash. So you have to too be competitive.
Okay. So these realtors, how do I don't want to tell them, oh, we're not doing Phoenix again. So how do I just maintain the relationship with them? But I know we may not go further with it because you said the market is not so strong for rentals, right?
Well,
so
I don't know for sure, Tope. I just want to give you a heads up that Phoenix does not occur to me as a cash flow market. So
okay.
Unless there's an area that you're focusing on that I just don't know about, I just know that market's been really hot for years, and it's not as expensive as California, but it's still pretty pricey. I don't know that the rents are super expensive there. So my gut sense is that it's not a great cash flow market. And I just think you'll have an easier time selling your deals if you're in areas where you can show a lot better cash flow for your buyer.
Right. Okay.
Make sense?
Right.
All right. Good deal.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Sorry, what I have to say actually ties into what Tuckbay has been saying.
Oh, sure, Jennifer. Hi.
Hi. So this was exactly what I was trying to avoid: do the job and then find out that the markets weren't good. So I picked about 5 markets that the population was really good. So I'm just gonna name them.
Okay, sure.
So Charlotte, North Carolina, Las Vegas, Nevada, Cape Coral in Florida, Oklahoma City, Seattle, Washington. I think those were the.
Okay, so Charlotte, North Carolina. So here's the main thing you guys want to keep in mind. So Seattle, Washington, I'd throw that one out. Las Vegas, Nevada. For the buy and hold strategy, My gut is that similar to Phoenix is probably not going to cash flow super well.
Okay.
Charlotte, North Carolina, I actually don't know. There's probably, no, Marcus is saying no. Yes, which? Not good for cash flow?
Phoenix and Las Vegas are both cash buyer markets, and they're highly competitive. The wholesalers know each other. They pass deals to each other. It's all about flipping, and they got cash deals. It's retirees in Phoenix and Tempe and stuff like that. And Vegas is people with cash. You can look at Henderson. That's cash flow out there.
Well, he told me Phoenix is a seller's market now.
Yeah.
Seller's market.
Yeah, sellers market means that there are more sellers than there are buyers. It means that it's been hot, which it has been for years. It's competitive. Which is what Marcus is saying. It's a very.
It's just people don't go there to rent. You know what I mean? Because like the market there is like there's University of Arizona. There's a few tech jobs, but for the most part, it's a lot of retirees there.
Okay.
So it's a lot of service industry.
Yeah. So Jennifer, the one market. So you mentioned Oklahoma City. Correct. I don't know specifically, but I believe, like in general, markets that are Midwest tend to work pretty well for cash flow strategies. Not everywhere, but in general, like when you're on the edges of the country, they don't usually work as well. When you're in the middle of the country, they tend to work a little bit better. I mean, that's a very broad statement, but I don't know about Charlotte, North Carolina. So you'd have to ask. But the way that you can quickly assess is it's the 1% rule. What is the rental? Like, what are the market rents? And what are the housing prices? And if they are in line with about 1%, then okay, you're probably dealing with a market that could work for rent. But if they're not, it's just going to be an uphill battle. Seattle, I would drop. Vegas, drop. Phoenix, drop. Charlotte, I'm not sure. You need to look into the prices. Oklahoma City, I think, is probably okay.
Okay. Cape Coral in Florida. The thing with that one is the population was about, I think, 184,000.
Okay.
So I know you said, ideally over 200,000, but.
Yeah, 184 is fine. I don't actually, I was going to say, I feel like Steve has something to say about Cape Coral. I've invested in Cape Coral, but it was like in 2004. So it was a really long time ago.
Yeah,
not relevant.
Right now, Cape Coral's exploding. So if you find a deal, you'll be able to sell it or rent it or whatever because it's on fire. It's about 15 miles, maybe 20 miles south of me. So if you can find a deal that's good, I was actually looking way back before I started this group. I was looking into the apartment thing then even, and I was actually looking at apartment complexes there. So I really didn't get into the duplex and the single family and all that. But yeah, if you can find a deal there, you'll do well. And it's not super high price right now. Fort Myers probably is. Tampa's another market that you can find deals, but that's a little higher price. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you find a deal in Cape Coral, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, but Jennifer, the way you guys can just take it to the next step as far as does it make sense is just look at or you're talking to the realtors. What are approximate market rents? What are the prices and does it make sense? In general, it will be easier for you if you focus on something that's at least 2 units, if your objective is to sell it to someone who's looking for cash flow, which my thought is right now, based on everything going on, that's probably going to be your safest bet, because to sell something that's going to be a flip, the big question mark is, what is the after rehab value? No clue, because we're not out of COVID yet. So we don't know how the real estate market, as far as prices for homeowners, we don't know how it's going to be impacted. So because of that, it puts a big question mark about ARV, which makes it's going to be harder to sell that deal. That's my main reason. I'm like, I mean, cash flow, if the prices are going up and down a little bit, doesn't really matter so much because it's a long-term buy and hold. Anyway, on a long enough trajectory, prices at least stay steady and go up. Not a ton in the Midwest, but that's why for me, that's an easier way to go with wholesaling than the traditional route of trying to do one for flip. But that's because of the season we're in right now. If it was 4 months ago, I would be having a different conversation with you.
Okay. So just a few other questions. So for the self-directed IRA, I also asked Anderson those questions as well, but I have a meeting with them tomorrow.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Oh, about the being Canadian and the LLC and everything else. Okay.
Yeah. So is that question, would I be directing that question to them as well? The self-directed IRA issue?
100%.
Oh, okay, all right.
Like I can give you general information, but I'm not an expert in it.
Got it, no problem. Okay, and okay, so this was what I was thinking, because we have, the three of us, we have the company name. So with selling the LLC per deal, are we using that name? Like I just wasn't too clear on it.
If you're doing, okay, so if you're using the strategy of selling a deal, if you're wholesaling through basically getting a property under contract in an LLC, it's just a shell LLC that you just create in order to sell. So you would not, that wouldn't be your company name at all. It could be, I mean, it literally could be anything because it doesn't actually matter, but it would not be your guys' LLC. If you have an LLC that the three of you are a part of, and that's your company LLC, that you don't touch, you don't sell. You would create a shell, a new LLC to put a property under contract, and then you would sell the LLC as a way to assign the contract.
Okay, so when we're sending the offer, then we're using those shell LLCs to send the contract, not the company.
That's correct.
Look to send the
yeah,
offer.
well, you could do, if you have the shell LLC set up, you can do that. The other thing that you can do is you can write the offer in your company name, LLC, and or designated entity.
Got it, okay.
And that would allow you to move it into the shell LLC if you don't have it set up yet.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Okay, so right now, I guess, because once again, we're trying to get a deal as quickly as possible, we're just gonna pick one market right now, and all three of us would just focus on that market to get a deal.
Yeah, I would suggest you guys like look inward, go Midwest. I just think it's just gonna be the easiest. For you.
I'm going to tell you where I was sending mail-outs to last year, which didn't work out. It was Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay.
But when I checked the population growth on Google, it just wasn't. It just seemed, yeah. I'm not sure, but a lot of people say it's a good place to wholesale.
Well, to wholesale, but to wholesale to what end?
Got it. Okay, got it.
Yeah, it's just unfortunately sometimes when people have the conversation, they don't talk the conversation all the way through. You have to, it's almost like you have to think about things through the mind, through the eyes of your wholesale buyer. So what are they looking to do? Are they looking to invest in an area that has a declining population? Probably not. It's going to be, and if it has is an inclining population, that's part of what you can sell about the deal. Like it's been having decreasing unemployment, the population's been steadily increasing, but if it hasn't, and they're in the know and they're like, well, I mean, I don't want to invest someplace that population's been going down. It's just going to be harder. So keep in mind when you guys hear stuff about a market being good or bad, you want to dig in a little bit and find out from what standpoint. I mean, Mike and Shelly have a flip going on in Grand Rapids right now, and it's great for that strategy, or at least it was a few months ago when they got into it. So, but for wholesaling, if you're wholesaling rental properties, I don't know, it may or may not be.
Got it. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and you guys, and keep in mind, I know you guys are new, but like you can ask questions like these on the group mastermind string, like in between calls, to get some feedback. If you want me to see it, I don't always see all the conversations going on, but a lot of people in the group will be like, will throw out answers because they've been in for a while. They know what I would say, or they can throw out their thing. But if there's ever a time where you've asked a question in there and you don't get an answer from me like within a day, just like ping me, because it just means I missed it.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right. All right. Any other shares anyone wants to make? No.
How you doing?
Talk about the king of presentations. This guy knows how to do a presentation.
You like that?
I haven't actually seen it yet. I just saw it on the side. I will get back to you, by the way. I did see it, but I was like, wow.
I appreciate it.
Put together a presentation, sir. Can't wait to see your first investor packet.
Exactly. So I was like, I need to hurry up and get to that part of the course. But I'm multitasking here because it's my last day here at home with my wife and kids here. So before I have to drive back to Texas. So either way, last week I spent the time to run the numbers, and I narrowed it down to SLC, Oklahoma City, and Austin. And after I went through the comprehensive city plans and saw what the cities were doing, and then I looked back at the last recession, 2008 to 2011, to see how they did there. And that kind of took OKC out just because it's kind of spread out. And both SLC and Austin are tech-based areas. They're young demographics. It's going to be more of a rental demographic, so you should have more people where you're looking for investors that need to own a home so people can rent them. So, I mean, average days on the market are like 30 days or less, you know, so I decided to go into those markets. So one thing, I found a fourplex over in Utah County. They wanted 235,000. I offered 220 with a 45-day close and 15-day inspection with
Okay.
100-day earnest money. And
With
then the
wait,
agent
with
came,
what?
$100 earnest money.
Oh, I thought you said 100-day, and I was like, wait, what did you? $100?
Oh,
Oh,
no.
$100. Okay.
Yes. So the agent came back to me and he told me that actually Utah law now requires that there's a minimum earnest money deposit of $1,000. So I was
Did you
like,
Google
oh, I'm
that?
not really feeling that. No, I didn't. So I haven't quite got into that yet, but I just told him, let me talk to my partner right now. I'll see what's going on. It's like 45 minutes away from Provo, so it's not like the thing is going to move tomorrow and the guy's really motivated. So,
Oh,
you know, either way, I'll check that out. But I know they have been cracking down on wholesalers in Utah over the past few years. And basically, they say they want you to be licensed over there. And also, if you buy an entity name and you flip it, basically, they're looking at that as a wholesale deal. So you can sell the entity, but as far as an entity buying multiple properties and all that, Utah Real Estate uh, Association is really cracking down on that. So either way, I decided to stick with Texas. I made a lot of connections in Texas, spoke to a lot of contractors down there, spoke to a few real estate agents. They're all sending me a lot of deals. And so that's why I posted my goal this week is to make sure that I focus them in on exactly what I'm looking for. We discussed that we're looking for rental properties for people looking for cash flow. And, you know, I posted a video up there in the chat, just kind of following the market and really the numbers that look like it's scary and we dropped off were just from March, you know, like last month where everybody just kind of froze up and things shut down. So, you know, they're saying it's optimal time is to close now. So find guys that are out there looking for deals right now. And so I found a lot of people in Texas. It's a good market. So I just need to send the email blast out. So I'm getting to the point of building the buyers list and reaching out to the different people. I need to get more into the real estate agent conversations and the contractor pre-screenings. But yeah, I just need to get out to them. And contractors I'm pretty good with. I need a few more agents to start sending me stuff. And that's where we are.
right on. So you're okay. So you've made the decision for now. You're just focusing on Texas. Where San Antonio?
So Austin, basically from just south of
Austin.
Waco. Waco's a little overpriced because of what's their name, Chip and Joanna. You know, but either way, just south of Waco, down to basically the Rio Grande Valley area, Central Texas. So that's just outside where they puts you about 2 hours between Dallas or Houston. So people really like it down there.
Gotcha. Okay, well, good. It sounds like you've. The thing is, like, too, so, like you going and doing a couple of different markets and getting some offers out, etc., and getting some feedback on that is good. It just gets you closer to your next deal. I think it's fine for you to focus in Texas, and I'm glad you're down to one. And you're right. You need to just get your buyers list and then get your lead gen going.
Absolutely. So that's what
you're
I'll be
doing it.
closing out this week with. And yeah, next week, hopefully we'll start getting some deals to analyze and start making some offers.
Excellent. I love it, Marcus. Very cool. Great work. Great work. All right. Anybody else want to share what's going on this week?
I wanted to ask a question.
Oh yeah, Cassie, what was your question earlier that I told you to ask about?
So the realtor connections that I have currently are from when I was when my end goal was to actively invest, but I've switched the mindset to just wholesaling for the moment. And so I'm building new relationships with realtors and signing new buyer's agreements, and that's what that's about, is the exclusive agreement or the buyer's agreement. Should I be signing those in the LLC name or under my name?
Oh, that's what you were talking about. Okay. Well, for one, we don't sign exclusive agreements unless they add that verbiage.
Right.
Okay, so you're having them add the verbiage that the
I'm not having them
exclusivity.
add it, yeah.
Okay, it really doesn't matter. Technically, you should be signing in the company name, because you're going to be making offers in the company name.
Okay.
But when it comes to those exclusive agreements, it doesn't really matter. If you sign in your personal name, then technically it doesn't hold the company. But if it doesn't matter. In general, you should always be signing on behalf of the company.
Okay.
Nothing should ever be personal, like nothing. Unless you don't have an entity, then you don't have a choice. Okay, yeah, I definitely didn't get that that's what you were asking, so I'm glad we talked about it. Cassie, the thing is, all the relationships you already have, if you were building those relationships for yourself for buy and hold, those would be the same relationships. It's just instead of you holding it. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I want to create more realtor relationships.
Okay, you're just looking to expand.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Definitely.
Okay. Cool. I like it. All right. So did you guys get my actually it wasn't mine. Did you guys see the message from Jennifer last night about posting the weekly goal post every Monday, that we're going to start doing that in the group? So it's going to be your opportunity to be like, okay, this is what I want to accomplish this week, and put it out there so that then the next week it's like, okay, this is how I did, or oh, I didn't quite get there, but I did more than I would have done if I hadn't like stated the goal. Okay, so you really use that as a tool to keep moving you forward. And if you haven't responded on that as far as what you want your goal to be next week, get on the Facebook group and do that. Because once you set the intention and the goal, it's a lot less comfortable to just sit back and watch. And it kind of makes you make a move. Nobody made the investment in your knowledge and education to be here to just watch, right? Right? If you came here, you came to do. That's what we're about, right? So use that to create momentum. Sue, how's your week? Yeah. Unmute. Okay, I got you. I got you unmuted.
It's good. I've called a lot of realtors. Most of them didn't pick up the phone, so I left voicemails. But me and Jen had a good conversation earlier, so I just need to clear up my mind and just be a go-getter, pretty much. It's a numbers game, like we talked about.
Truly. Now, so you're calling realtors. Are you using that kind of stealth thing? Okay, good.
I'm a lot more comfortable with it, but it looks like I just need to maybe look at new markets, like the Midwest, like you said, do my research a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely a numbers game for sure.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to just throw out seeds. Like pick a few and just like send out some inquiries, and just see where they roll in. And don't be attached to any one thing. It's just like, just see what comes to you. But, do it in mass, because Sue, especially now, did you go back to work? Are you going back to work? Or are you still having time?
We don't know yet. My job is still, my department's still closed. So
got it. Okay. Since you don't know, I hate to say that you're going to get a call one day. Okay, now it's time to go back, and you're going to be like, oh no, but that's totally possible. And you want to take full advantage of this time where you don't have to go back to work, and you don't have to make a decision right now because it's not even an option because your department is closed. But when your department opens back up and now you're put to a decision, you just want to make sure that you take full advantage of this time where you actually have the hours, because when you're trying to balance it with work, it's doable, but it's just, it takes a lot more juggling the balls in the air, and you can't get as much done. So take full advantage and hit it hard, because just with your personality, I feel like you just need a little bit of a push. You're gonna destroy your goal. You're gonna absolutely destroy it if you just decide to make it, I want to have a duplex by June 15th instead of December 31st. Like, you could have that. You could
Definitely.
have it.
Yeah.
But you got to take advantage now, because you don't know when your time circumstances are going to shift.
Yeah, we also talked about finding gap investors too, so I don't have to use my own money. So
did you say you got some investors?
No, I haven't yet, but I need to find some too.
Yeah.
So I don't have to use my money, because that was my concern too with, not working and risking all my money. I'd rather just build relationships and make it easier for myself.
Yeah, well, and really what you're doing is that's a service to someone else too, because by them building a relationship with you, and you know, having the knowledge that you have and the coaching and the mentorship that you have to go put that to work, they would not have that otherwise. All they have is money. Money is not that useful if you don't have knowledge to go with it. The money is easier, a lot easier to find than the knowledge. Anyway, so just yeah, what is your plan for creating opportunities to have those conversations to be able to help other people get into deals with you?
Well, I'm gonna definitely use that Facebook group we got. So I'm gonna start once I find, you know, properties that I wanna use, maybe, you know, send out a few messages, see who might be interested, and then just set up Zoom calls and go from there, you know. But
Yeah.
I need to first find the market and the properties, you know, have realtors send me stuff.
Yeah, you can do both simultaneously, by the way. You can build relationships now with people just by saying, this is what I'm doing. I'm opening markets, cash flow markets, and I'm doing X, Y, and Z. I'm looking to buy a duplex, and I'm looking for a partner. If anyone's interested, I'll do all the legwork. You know, I have mentorship. I'm in coaching. Stacy looks at my deals. I mean, especially if you're doing it in our group. If you're doing it in some other group, they'd be like, who the hell is Stacy? But in our group, you know, that will carry some weight with it. So just know you could be doing both at the same time. And even within our group, when Tajane had brought up, I'm looking for money, like a couple people were like, well, I mean, I might know somebody. It's like even building relationships within here, people here might know someone who they're looking to get into a deal. They don't know how, but it aligns well with what you're looking to do. So you don't need to wait to build the relationships until you have a property. You could be absolutely doing both at the same time.
Definitely. All right. Gives me something to do.
Yeah. So what I want to know is, what are you going to do by Thursday?
I'm going to first find, you know, like you said, find people that I could chat with and build relationships with, and then call realtors as well, you know.
Okay. How many people are you going to get into conversations with as far as potential partners or private money?
I'm going to say 50 at least, because
50?
I'm getting comfortable with, yeah.
You're going to be pulling an all-nighter. Right on. I just did that last night. So, well, not all-nighter, but like a 3 a.m.er. When you're motivated, you'll make shit happen.
I need to set high goals. Yeah, definitely.
Good, because it will push you and you will be proud of yourself and you will start to accelerate in a way that is Steve Carell-esque. And then you're just unstoppable. You just need to get your first one.
Yeah, that's it.
But you're also out, and I don't know you, I'm getting to know you. You're also out of your element. When you are in sales, and I don't have a background in sales, but I've been around a lot of people who've been in sales like for a long time. I get like there's this energy. This is energy there, and there's this conquest thing, and there's like, oh, I got something. Like you get feedback, and it's like it's invigorating. And right now, you're missing that because you're not selling. You're not doing what you do, what you thrive at, because you can't, because you're closed.
Intimidating. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that's why but I can see as soon as you can get that first one, this is going to be that for you. This is going to be another one of those things for you. But I feel like it's kind of like, it's like sucked your soul a little bit. Like I don't get to do what I do.
Yeah.
So I really,
it's not something that I'm like specialized in, you know. I've been doing sales for so long. I mean, I know I'm still young, but this whole real estate is very intimidating to me still, because I'm always so used to selling and not being like my, you know, go-to. But.
Yeah. And I like that you're setting high goals. And everyone knows, like, I will coach every single one of you differently. There's no way I would tell Laurel to do this. Like, you know, I'm like, okay, because she's in a different place. But my gut sensu is if we do not push you quickly and get you momentum, you're just not going to do it. But if we give you momentum, you're going to be ridiculous. Young, too. Ridiculous in, like, you're going to be a mogul. You're going to be a mogul. You have that moxie, that personality, but we got to get you your first one so you can be like, oh my God, yes, okay, I get it. And then it becomes as comfortable to you eventually as selling is. But you're going to have to push through because you are not used to being uncomfortable. Because you're used to being really freaking good at what you do. It's so painful when you're new and you don't know. So you have to push really hard right now. If you want what you say you want, you got to go for it hard. Otherwise you're gonna be like, it's just too hard. Don't let it be. Like, let this be the thing that you go for, that you work your ass off for, because you won't have to work so hard later. You have options. So definitely. I like that you're setting high goals, because you need to push yourself so that you get the momentum. Because once you get the momentum, you're going to go right into your normal sales personality self, and it's going to be like, okay, cool. And it's going to just take you, and you don't have to be nervous about it. You know, on top of it, you always have help. So
definitely
talk to as many people, like do that. Go hardcore on that.
Yeah.
And the realtor outreach.
Yep.
Make this be the time that COVID, thank God for COVID. When you look back later and you have 1,000 units, thank God for COVID, because I wouldn't have had the time, and Stacy wouldn't have like busted my balls about it so much if I didn't have all this time off of work.
Yeah,
I'm gonna bust them. All right. I want you to report in the group by Thursday, end of business, what you've done.
Sounds good.
All right, cool.
See, Sue, she's preaching to you.
It's good. I need it.
Yes, you do. And I have to chime in because I believe the same exact thing, Stacy. I've been telling this guy this for months, right? So everybody I know, Sue, I know this guy, right? And he is one of my coworkers, and you know, we worked together for a while. And
that's why I know as much as I know about your sales side. I wouldn't have known that otherwise, but yeah. Natasha's like, oh yeah, he's so good.
Yes, and I've been telling him for a long time. He's amazing, and he's really smart, and he's so young, but he's so smart. Still, you're really smart, and I've been telling you this for a long time. So I've been telling him this before I ever got into the mastermind, and it was just something that I recognized in him so long ago. And so all the stuff you said, I pretty much have been telling him that and feeding this to him. So when this mastermind came along and I got in, I was like, this is, hey, you know, plant a little seed. And after a while, now he's here. And everything that Stacy's saying is just so right. She's right on the money. And I've told you the same thing. I'm already proud of him, and he hasn't even done anything yet. Because it's just there. He's got it.
You know, he's going to do it.
Yeah, you got to go for it, man. You got it. It's just everything she just said. So I had to chime in on that.
And it's funny because Tara's like, wow, she's bossy, ain't she? It depends on who I'm talking to. I don't talk to Laurel like that. Well, I did a little bit last week, but in a different way. And when you guys didn't get to meet them yet because you're new, but Michael and Allie were on a couple of weeks ago, and they were going through some really, really, really hard personal things. And I was like, and she was just like, I just know we got to dive in. I know. And I was like, you know what? You actually don't. You just need to do one tiny little thing each day. Just do one tiny little thing. Please take off the pressure of the diving in and do one thing. And I advised Laurel the same thing. And in that same call, I told Sue, you go pick a freaking market. You have until tomorrow. Let's go. And so it's just like, you guys will see, like, I'll be bossy when I need to be, and I will be very loving when that's what you need. I know how to morph into what you need to make the next step and keep making forward progress. That's not the right approach with Sue. You'd be like,
yeah, no, I need to push for sure.
I know you do. And Steve, I just have to have a leash on his guy. I'm like, hold on, Steve, don't bite anymore yet. You know, so
that's what I was gonna say. You tell me to slow down. What the heck?
That's good to know, Kahusha and Tara. And I will, as you guys are getting going and I see where you're holding back, you're playing small, I will simply not allow it. But there are times where it's just, everybody's different. And sometimes a hard push is not the right approach. And that's what I've been doing for years. And I have to always get to know you guys a little bit. Like Tajane, I already know I can push the shit out of her. I'd be like, girl, go make it happen. You go take your 22-year-old self and you go make it happen right now. Like, I know I can push her because I've gotten to know her and I know her personality. So as I get to know you guys and how you respond and what helps you, you'll see me coach in the same thing, say to 4 different people in 4 different ways. So anyway, it's good. I was just going to call in Annika, but then she just got up and walked away. So hopefully she'll be back and I can check in. We haven't seen her in a couple of weeks. So I want to see how you're doing, especially now that with Battelle being back thinking that she was gone. Oh, there she is. Oh, with a little baby. How are you? Are you going to be able to get off mute?
I think I got it.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so how are you doing? Fill us in on what's going on and how can I help you?
I'm back.
You back?
I think I'm a female version of Sue. I needed that. That was my pep talk too. So that
Excellent.
really that hit the nail on the head. I think I had a moment and I had the momentum going in the beginning, and I got I felt like I was making progress, but I guess whenever it's not that immediate success, then you kind of get disappointed and discouraged. And so that's kind of where I was. I was in that space and stagnant. So I think I need another dose of the secret.
Okay, good.
To kind of get me back on track. And like pretty much like what Sue is, I just need to kind of, and what you talked about earlier as far as looking into some different markets, I feel like I probably didn't choose the best markets and they were out kind of on the outside, on the coast area. So maybe looking at some new markets and getting some more, some better leads than what I was getting. Maybe it'll give me some momentum.
Gotcha. Okay. And one thing too to keep in mind, like anytime if you feel like you're lacking momentum or and you don't come to the calls because you're like, I don't feel like I have anything to talk about. You don't have to talk on the calls. Like there's no requirement, but sometimes just being here, like today, you hear something that you're like, oh. And when yeah, exactly. And when Ellie and Michael, now they're not here today, but they were here the last couple of weeks, but for a little while they weren't. I hadn't seen them in a while, and they had reached out and just said, we're just going through, we have some personal stuff that we're going through, and I feel like we're just kind of falling off track. And I was like, come to the call. Just come to the call. I can't help you if I don't know that you're struggling or know what's going on. And sometimes just being here and listening will help to invigorate you. So always, just so everybody keep in mind, you're going to go through like ups and downs. There's going to be times where you're on fire, like you're unstoppable. And other times that you're like, I feel like I've lost my mojo. I've lost my way. I don't even know what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. Like you just get into a funk. And if you can always come anyway, even if you're just not saying anything, you're just listening, you'll probably pop right out of it and then get going again. But just know it's super normal to go through those lows. And all of a sudden you start getting momentum and you're like, okay. And then something else happens and you're like, oh man. And then you're up again. But it's always like this. You might be like, you're up and then down, you're up and down, you're up, but you're making forward progress the whole time. Yeah. So you just keep moving forward, but come and show up so that you can get infused with that. And like Jennifer and I are in masterminds where we're the participants, and there's times where we're just like, oh my God, we totally did not even come close to doing what we said we would for sure do by the next meeting. And I don't want to show my face. I haven't done this. And we always have to like hold each other like to going and showing up anyway. And every time we're like, okay, yeah, let's do it. Like we just get all invigorated and it gets us going again. But it's normal for everybody. So I'm glad you're back, and just reach out. If you guys ever like, I feel like I need something that I don't know, just reach out on the group and let everyone kind of feed into you. And if you want me to, if you're just like, I don't exactly know what to do next, ask. And I will give you some advice to help get the ball rolling. Sometimes all you need is one little step and one more little step and one more little step. And then all of a sudden you're rolling fast again. So,
thank you.
My pleasure. I'm glad to see you. All right. Does anyone else want to talk about what you want to accomplish this next week, or anything that you did this week before we wrap up? Lupe, with your pretty orchid background.
Hi, Stacy. So we are week 2 in the program. We are slowly getting off the ground.
Excellent.
So we are market research. So we're gonna narrow down to probably 1 or 2 places and to just do a more in-depth research in those areas, but we have not gotten that far yet.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll be able to participate more next week.
Yeah, it's no problem. Usually when you're new in the mastermind, sometimes you're like, I don't have anything to say yet because nothing's happened yet. And that's okay. You listen and you learn, you get motivated, and then every week you get a little bit further, and all of a sudden we are talking about your deals. So you guys just keep pressing forward.
That's the plan. Thank you. But I enjoy listening to all of you.
It's right. It's fun to hear what everybody's up to, huh? And everyone has something to share and to give. And I mean, this is all. I just love you guys. Aldrine, how's your project going?
Okay, well, the demolition is complete. So they cleaned out the whole inside, the basement. So I did speak to a home inspector, as you told me to do.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah.
So he's supposed to look at it this Friday, and then once he looks at it and gives me the go ahead, then I'm gonna put in for a draw.
Okay, good. So you have independent third party reviewing it.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm very glad to hear that.
They cleaned out the whole inside, the basement, did the demolition. So
okay,
I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Okay, and what's next? Like, do you have a scope of work and a timeline? Does this project have?
The next step would be to do the siding and the windows.
Okay, and is that scheduled?
Actually, no, not yet, because I want to submit for the draw, and then see how much money they're gonna give. I mean, the contractor is ready to do it. It's just it's just a matter of getting the funds.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. When are you expecting to get the draw back?
Well, I didn't request it yet, because I'm waiting for the inspector to go in, and then I'll request it like the same day. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And then do you have? Okay, so you're just waiting to see, like, is this draw thing gonna work? Beyond that, I just don't want this project to drag on for a year.
I don't either.
Okay, so is there like a draw schedule beyond this? Is like, we're gonna do this in week 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it gonna start moving at a faster pace after this one?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
you just need to get some funds rolling in so that you can keep it going.
Right. Some funds rolling in, so I don't have to keep using my own money.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
As you know, we're already upside down.
Well, that's not gonna change in the deal.
Right.
But but if your goal is to get cash flow, then you want to get to the cash flow as quickly as you can. So okay.
And then in the meantime, I plan to do some JV with Natasha.
To JV?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Right, Natasha?
She's just ready. She's like, do you got anything? Well, what do you have? Want JV?
Yeah, I'm already in the middle of this deal, so I'll just do that until, when I get this deal, like when it's done, then I already selected markets that I know I want to invest in.
Yeah.
So I'll just move ahead, once I get this headache straightened out a little bit more.
All right. Yeah. Sounds good. I think it's good to get this project just under control.
Right. Under control, right.
Yeah. Natasha, is there any updates on, you were asking questions last week about the seller financing thing for your house. What happened with that?
So we did the realtor, they're doing a credit application. So they're going to pull a credit report to provide us with, and then they just have to accept the terms. That's pretty much the last update I got about that. And then we had actually a showing today, which just came out of nowhere. So I'm just hoping to get rid of this thing. So there's that.
All right. So, okay. So you might have, you're hoping to get an offer from the showing, and you also might have a lease option person.
Right. So that's, my partner is handling like that part of it. I don't really know a lot about it. So I'm letting her give me the updates for that. And I'm working on, I found a little duplex near downtown. So I'm just kind of in due diligence, but it's directly with the owner. So I'm not under contract. And I don't want to be. I'm just like, hey.
It's not on the market, so it doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm keeping at that.
Very good. One thing I just want to advise, I know as far as your partner handling that stuff, and I know it's easier because then you could like, cool, she's handling it so I can focus on other stuff. I wouldn't get too far away from it as far as like letting her handle it. Like, I would ask questions because you're the one who has mentorship.
Right.
I don't know who your partner is, but I'm pretty sure they're not in this group, right? So the only person who would be able to get any advice, at least for me, is you. So if there's other stuff going on and she's handling it and you don't even know, you don't know a detail to even ask me about or bring here, like that's what I'm saying. I would try to stay a little bit closer to it, ask more questions, like what's the status? Because I'm surprised that it's been a week and there's not something yet. When you say that you're waiting for like for them to accept the terms, that was a week ago. So like, when are they looking to move in? Like, just see if you can ask some questions and kind of re-engage. I know she's handling the communication, but almost like act like you're the CEO and that she's one of your people who are handling it, but you still need to know everything so that you can make sure that everything's all right.
Got it.
Because you'll also learn more too, which is the other benefit.
So you think we should have had an answer by now? Because I'm in the group stream, like I see the messages between them. So
okay.
Like I'm the one that has to sign everything. Like,
got it.
But I just I haven't heard anything else. But you're saying that we should have had an answer by now, as far as
I was just surprised that you didn't. If they had made the offer, because you said when we got on the call last week, she had already said, "Here's our terms." So now it's been a full week. What are they doing? Are they doing it? Are they not doing it? So that's all. Just like to find out. So they're filling out a credit application, but are they actually interested? When are they planning on moving in? Are they planning on moving in on August 1st or June 1st or May 15th? Like, what are their plans? Because that will help you also plan for cash flow wise. You got a payment going out every month. You're trying to refinance. What's the status of the refinance?
I just cut it. Like, I really just want to sell it. And so we reduced the price about a month ago. So I'm just trying to get rid of it. I don't really want to do owner financing. So I'm pushing for the sale, and they both know that. So that's kind of like for me.
Okay.
I go back and forth.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. It'd be nice just to be done and not have to think about it anymore. So I get it. Okay. So you're not pushing through on the refinance right now because you're hoping to actually have a buyer?
Yes.
I mean, a cash buyer, like to get cashed out.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes more sense because we would still make money at this point if we went ahead and did it that way. If we owner finance it, we'd make a little bit of money. If we ended up just selling it, we wouldn't make as much. It's like very little to nothing because we've eaten up all of our profits.
Holding it.
Yeah, holding it. Yeah. So it's just tough. But I would rather sell it and move on with my life than owner finance.
Got it. Okay. And if you sell it too, you at least can extract your capital back out, even if it's not profit.
Right.
Yeah. And not have the obligation of the monthly payment anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, then maybe you don't push on, then maybe don't ask the questions and don't push on that, especially if you had a showing. Just see if you can follow up with that and see how realistic that is. But if it's not going to sell and you can at least get some cash flow coming in, and is a good tenant buyer, then if you want that, I'm just saying, just put when it comes time for that, if you're like, we need to make that happen, get more involved and just push a little bit. Like, what is the holdup? But if that's not really what you want, then I don't want you to jump in and start asking a bunch of questions to make it happen faster. So never mind that.
Yeah, I guess in the back, this is good to know though. I should be asking questions, so it shouldn't take this long to get an answer. I need to know that. But in the back of my mind also, I'm just like, hopefully somebody puts an offering on it because it's they painted the door to make it like more appealing. It's like bright red now. And did some landscaping and things that you told me before, like it needed landscaping and freshened up and stuff. So we did a couple things to just lighten up the place. Yeah. So, I mean, that's got to do it. What are your thoughts? Because I'm like over it at this point. I want it so sold. It's such a beautiful house. Why the heck aren't they buying it?
Yeah. And did you get updated pictures on the MLS?
You know what? We just got the updated pictures yesterday. So I don't even know if it's on there. I didn't check.
Yeah. Tell your agent to go in and make some, like, one, put the new pictures up, and two, do something, change something about the listing to make it refresh.
Well, this is a new agent. The listing is not even, I think it's like a month old.
Oh, okay.
So she's gotten us more action than the last one did. Like, she's doing what she needs to do. It's just a matter of, she's getting us foot traffic. That's what we were lacking before.
Okay.
So I still feel like, darn it, it should have an offer by now. Somebody's got to want this house. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's huge.
It's freaking massive.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just the updated pictures were just really of the door. There weren't a lot of pictures of the landscaping anyway.
Got it. Well, just you have to know people shop online before they ever shop in person.
True. Right.
So that's part of why even with rentals, I pay for professional photography. Because long before when they decide where they're going to spend time driving around, and especially right now when you're not, actually maybe they are allowed to now, but whatever, like you got your picture, your online presence has to be tight. So
yeah,
make sure that they're getting the new pictures up. And if they didn't get pictures of the landscaping, then make sure the pictures like show the house in the best possible light.
Oh yeah, the pictures are gorgeous. The ones that are here, so little changes they're not going to make a huge difference with the way that it's listed, because the photographer did great. And you know, I didn't know that there was such thing as virtual staging, so now I know that I'm not going to be paying for staging anymore.
Okay. All right, good deal. Well, keep us updated on that, and I will keep my fingers crossed for you to get a buyer that buys it and cashes you out. So you be done with it.
Please send me good juju.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Cammie and Leroy. I don't even see Leroy's shoulder today. I only see Cammie's name printed on there. Are you guys here? I mean, I see that you're here, but are you here? Are you just in the land of the silence? No Leroy's shoulder today, huh?
No, we're here. Hold on one second.
So is your shoulder still there? Does it exist? I just can't see it.
I've been working it out, just the right side.
Just the right side. I just want to make sure it pops. That's funny.
Yep, we're here.
There we go.
There they are. There's his arm.
Yeah, there it is.
There's Leroy's shoulder. All right, how are you guys doing? How's your week? What are you working on?
Well, we're excited, but we're freaking out right now. So
No.
that's where we are.
We're looking at lenders.
Yeah.
Trying to see if we can get somebody to buy on non-experience. You know, just going
Yeah,
at it.
because that's been the problem.
Yeah, we're finding that they just kind of hesitant about that. We may have one, so we're gonna follow up with that tomorrow. But yeah, just really playing that numbers game when it comes to
Finding a lender.
What kind of lenders are you talking to?
Hard money.
Okay, so you're talking about hard money lender for like doing like the BRRRR strategy?
Yeah.
Renovation? Okay, gotcha. I talked to, some of you guys know, because we talked about this a little bit last week. It's on my list. I probably won't get to it till Wednesday or Thursday, but I want to try to create like this group environment where everybody contributes to finding, calling lenders and putting together a big list. And then anybody who actually participated in that gets the list with all the information on the lenders. But I did talk to a lender on Friday, I think it was, that will lend to new investors.
Okay.
But they won't do anything that's going to be a rental. So you would have to go in. You couldn't tell them that the exit strategy was to refinance it. You would just say we're gonna sell it. You would basically say it's an investor flip. We're gonna buy it, renovate it, get renters in there, and sell it. Investor flip. And he said, because I just asked him some pointed questions. I was like, so if someone was gonna do a rental strategy, but they were not gonna refinance it and keep it themselves, but they were gonna sell it to someone else, does that count as a flip? Because he goes, well, we're only doing flips right now. And I said, does that count as a flip? He goes, oh yeah. I mean, if they're talking about selling it, then that would be fine. They lend, I want to say he said they would do 80%. I think 80% of purchase and 100% of rehab, or 80-80. And they do lend to new investors.
Okay.
So it's just like knowing that. I was like, okay, so anytime you're talking to them, you would just have to make sure that either if your strategy is investor flip, or that you say it is, and maybe, hey, once the renovation is done, you love it so much you change your mind, you decide to refinance it with some other bank. They're not going to say no because you're paying them off. They just don't want to go into it knowing you're going to be keeping it long term, because they're not doing rentals.
Okay.
So anyway, it's called Anchor Loans. Okay. They're in Calabasas, and I have a contact there. So if you decide that you want to talk to them, just shoot me a message on the string, and I'll send you the guy's number.
Right.
Okay.
The guy named Josh. And I only talked to a couple of lenders. I have a couple more that we've been texting back and forth to try to set up a time. And then I want to try to get every, a bunch of people to make a bunch of calls. And then hopefully we'll, out of that, have some lenders that, that we can work with for new investors.
Sounds good.
But that was one that I was like, okay, all right, we might have to jig around that a little bit, but cool. Once we know what the game is, then it's easier to play it.
Yeah, I reached out to a lot, I feel like, maybe like 10. So, and I got a few responses, and a few of them were, you need experience within the last few years, a few flips. And so we automatically just disregarded those. So.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it's just gonna be a numbers game. This might be a good situation to reach out to a broker.
Okay.
It's never my preference to work with brokers, but in a situation like this where they would know, because they probably have 40 lenders in their list, and they're going to know which few lenders are the good fit for your strategy, for your experience, for your everything. So in this case, that might be a good fit, is to reach out to a mortgage broker.
That's right.
But it wouldn't be like a regular mortgage broker. I'm trying to think. I don't even know how you would look it up. Like, I know of one. It's the same one that does the commercial mortgage broker. I know they have they do fix and flip ones too. So they might actually be a decent contact too, Marianne. Although Vamsi and I've tried to talk to her, and she must have been dealing with some personal stuff, because she just was like, every time we try to meet, like the flaky factor was, I was like, what in the, what's going on? But I think their whole world kind of got turned upside down for a little bit at the beginning of COVID. So anyway, but that might be an option too. And if anyone else has any mortgage brokers that you've talked to that deal in the hard money space or for renovation space, please feel free to share that in the group, because that actually might be a good fit right now.
I have I'm a part of this group. It's a nurse REI club. It's just, a group of nurses that do real estate.
Wow.
And we purchased 2 properties in Indiana as a part of the group. That was my first actual experience, like doing anything remote. So what we basically did, like everybody put in a little bit of money. We bought the house, we got it rehabbed. But what they did, there's a group called Funding the Block that will loan you money. But I think the house has to be paid for. I forgot what the terms are, but I think they lend you up to like maybe $70,000 or $80,000 to do the rehab portion. But then they have to have the first. They have to have the first position on the lien. Is that how I say?
Yeah.
But but they're a smaller, like a new smaller entity, but they do lend the money as long as they have, I think, control over the papers for the property. And I think you have to pay it back within like 90 days.
Ooh, that's very fast. That's too fast. I would never make a commitment like that. That's too fast.
It's called Funding the Block.
Okay. Yeah, that's everything sounds like maybe, but not 90 days.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if anyone has any resources to share, and like I said, it's kind of one of my projects to try to get the group involved in creating like a list of lenders and see what we can find, because everything has shifted. But I think we can kind of cut to that faster. But Cami and Leroy, if you reach out to me about that lender, just make sure you say that your strategy is fix and flip.
Okay.
And then you should be able to do it, and then you would just refinance using a conventional lender. You just don't tell them that.
Noted.
Secret in the sauce.
Sometimes it's just those little things that work around things. You get investing long enough, you will get very creative, because there's always something you got to climb over, climb under, climb around, climb through. Okay, I can't do it that way. Cool. Do it this way. We'll get to the end. Say what you will, just make me get more creative. Thank you. Yeah, but I'll get you that. All right. Okay. Anything else? All right. Well, I will get this uploaded in case anyone wants to watch the replay. Of course, you guys are all here. Oh, next week I'm going to have, some of you already know him because you're using him, but I'm going to have Jad Porter, who is a licensed home inspector in Indianapolis. I asked him if he would come on as a guest to talk about, we might kind of do like a little bit of a mock interview, but to talk about from a home inspector's standpoint, what are some of the things that you want to be looking for in a home inspector? Because everybody in this group is investing in all sorts of different places. He's in Indianapolis, so that's why then a few people in the group are investing there. And so several people are using him because he's there, but he's OSHI certified and also very experienced in construction, which is like, that's a big benefit when you're hiring a home inspector. Anyway, I asked him if he would be willing to come on as like a guest speaker for 15 or 20 minutes. And he wasn't available today, but he's available next week. So anyway, so we'll have a little guest speaker who's a home inspector. You guys can ask questions if you want to, and you know, or I'll just interview him so you can kind of get a feel for what kinds of things would be ideal to have in a home inspector. So anywho, and if you ever come up with ideas that you're like, hey, I really love it if you could get a guest speaker on blah, just let me know. Steve did that once a month and a half ago or something. He's like, it'd really be good if we could talk to a CPA. I was like, oh, all right. And then I brought on Tony, my CPA of, you know, 17 years. So just let me know, have you guys, you know, have any special guests or special guest types that you'd like to talk to or interview, or have me interview in front of you, and we'll make that happen too. All right, have a fantastic week. Make sure you go put your goals on the goal post if you haven't already, and I will see you back here, same time, same place next week.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Have a great week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.